Apologised to viewers served by the Darvel transmitter and attendants for the loss of service during the ITV lunchtime news. This was due to disruption of the public electricity supply. You're watching Scottish TV, and now before all the top stories from your region, in Scotland today, here's the latest ITV news summary.
Good afternoon. The taxi driver who may have seen a car carrying the missing Cambridgeshire schoolgirls has been describing what he saw. Ian Webster said the driver, who had 2 child passengers, was like a man demented, swerving and hitting the sides of the road. Mr. Webster, who first spoke to police on Tuesday, said he was gobsmacked that it took them 5 days to interview him. Excuse me, nearly 20 people have now been killed in the worst flood Central Europe has seen for more than a century. In Prague, around 40,000 people have been forced to leave their homes and water levels there are rising. And Manchester United star Roy Keane could be in more trouble today. He's admitted this horror tackle, which left its victim, Alf Inge Haaland, with serious ligament injuries, was made out of revenge. He could now face legal action. And next from us, the ITV Evening News at 6:30. Bye-bye.
Good afternoon. Thousands of Scottish students are once again facing an exam fiasco after a major mix-up in their results. The university's admission service has admitted that it incorrectly classified many C-pass mark grades. Scotland's Education Minister says she is disappointed by the errors.
Well, it appears that the problem lies with the transfer of information from UCAS to some of the universities, and that in fact UCAS have misinterpreted some of the data, the accurate data that has been supplied to them from the SQA. What is happening at the moment is that UCAS are putting that right. That means that they've had to suspend some of the operations in dealing with the universities, but I think that's very important that we get this solved so that no candidate is disadvantaged.
Well, problems at the university admission service aren't the only shadow to be cast over today's exam results, as Robin Gray reports.
It's said the postman always rings twice, but at this home in Newton Mearns he didn't have to ring at all. 16-year-old Laura MacArthur, a pupil at nearby St Ninian's High School, has been waiting for this delivery all summer.
Well?
Baby. Oh, it's lovely. Oh, great.
Well, I got 5 A's and I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. It hasn't really sunk in yet, I don't think. There's a huge burden being lifted off me because now obviously I know what I've got. My fate's been sealed. And I was delighted because now I can do whatever I want.
However, Laura's straight A's have gone against the trend of this year's results. The higher pass rate has fallen by more than 2%.
Well, if you take a 5-year view of it, then the pass rate is really similar across the 5 years. You always get 1 or 2 percentage differences coming through, so I think it should be in that context. But obviously we will want to investigate that in more detail and understand exactly the reasons why.
However, it seems that once again Scotland's exam results have been overshadowed by confusion, a problem that's likely to overtake the pass rate in the Minister's list of priorities.
Safety systems have shut down the Torness nuclear power station in East Lothian because of a mechanical fault. Reactor 1 was taken out of service yesterday afternoon, and no electricity is now being produced at Torness because Reactor 2 was closed by a similar problem in mid-May. As our business correspondent Alan Sonby reports, a full investigation is underway.
The East Kilbride-based British Energy, which owns Torness, released the news of the latest blow to hit the troubled nuclear company this morning. Automatic safety systems tripped and ordered a shutdown after the fault in the gas circulation machinery appeared yesterday. The company stressed no radiation material was involved and no one was evacuated. Torness Reactor 2 was similarly shut down in mid-May due to the failure of a gas circulator. A similar circulator operates in the Heysham reactor in northwest England, and an investigation is underway to see if there's any implications there while that plant continues to operate. A company spokesman says remedial work is well advanced after the May shutdown, and they'll be reviewing whether yesterday's problem is related. British Energy has been hit by a wave of problems with the shutdown of the Dungeness B plant in Kent and the fall in electricity prices, which has plunged the company into losses on its UK activities. An announcement is expected shortly on the implications for this year's output and when the Torness plant can resume electricity production.
The family of an Ayrshire holidaymaker found dead on a beach in Ibiza have flown out to the Spanish island. 20-year-old Mark Cowan from Prestwick in Ayrshire was found on the San Antonio resort on Sunday. It's understood local police are treating Mr. Cowan's death as suspicious. A 16-year-old boy has been arrested in connection with a break-in at an Edinburgh primary school. The teenager has been charged with breaking and entering and theft. £200,000 worth of damage was caused when vandals went on the rampage at Halesland Primary. However, police say that the boy who has been arrested hasn't been charged with vandalism, and inquiries into other people are continuing. Scottish legal chiefs are trying to make it easier for victims of sex abuse dating back decades to come forward. Cases are difficult to prosecute because of the time involved and the lack of evidence. But in a Scotland Today special to be screened tonight, the Solicitor General reveals how the system is being changed with the victim in mind. Matt Bingham reports.
No one knows how many people in Scotland were abused as children. Certainly hundreds, probably thousands. Rose was just 10 years old when it started.
It went on for 2 years until it got to a stage I couldn't take any more. And I told him not to touch me, to leave me alone. And that was it. It just went, and then he obviously went to my niece.
Both women stayed silent for 25 years before finally speaking out.
When I said it, it was like as though there was a whole weight taken off my shoulders because I had told somebody. And then I went to the police with great difficulty. I didn't want to disclose, I didn't want to go that far because I was frightened again. What's going to happen next?
Cases are tough to prosecute. Lack of evidence and the amount of time involved are major obstacles.
If they're not reported, they can't be investigated. And people who are committing these very, very serious crimes will simply walk off without any responsibility whatsoever. It's important they do come forward. The system is improving. There is support increasingly available for such victims. And I would encourage victims of crime of this nature to come forward and to make sure that they do so as soon as possible.
Tonight's Scotland Today special hears from one victim who saw her abuser jailed nearly 30 years later, and hears more on how the criminal justice system is addressing the needs of victims. That's Scotland Today special tonight on this channel at 7:30.
A traffic warden is recovering after an acid was sprayed into his eyes during an unprovoked attack in Edinburgh. David Blackley was working in the city's Leith Walk area when he was called over to a car by two men. One of them smiled at the warden and then sprayed the liquid into his face. Here's our chief reporter, David Cowan.
Falling out with motorists is an occupational hazard for David Blackley, but the police traffic warden didn't expect to suffer an attack which threatened his eyesight. The 33-year-old still has blurred vision after yesterday's incident in Crichton Place. He was waved over to a red Ford Escort. When he bent over to talk to its occupants, one of the men sprayed the liquid in his eyes. David hadn't even spoken to the men, let alone given them a ticket.
It didn't actually sink in until I actually phoned my wife to tell her what had happened, and when she burst into tears on the phone, just I think with shock, and then at that point I realised how serious it could have been.
David plans to rejoin his colleagues as soon as possible. They too are accustomed to verbal abuse and threatening behaviour every day.
They're trained and they have the experience to deal with this. However, this has just overstepped the mark. This was a horrible physical assault, and no member of staff in any job should have to put up with that.
Across Scotland, traffic wardens are the victims of an estimated 700 serious verbal and physical assaults every year. The attack on David Blackley comes just days after another incident involving one of Edinburgh's council parking attendants, the so-called Blue Meanies. He was working in the city's Royal Circus when he was struck on the side of the head by what appears to have been a pellet from an air gun. The police have asked anyone with information on the incident to come forward.
Football, and the team that stand between Celtic and a lucrative Champions League place arrived in Glasgow a short time ago. FC Basel will take on the Scottish champions at Celtic Park tomorrow night, and the Swiss outfit flew into the city with plenty of confidence.
We're expecting to try and get a good result here. Obviously, if we can come away with a win, it'll be brilliant, but a draw will be fantastic for us, and then we can go home to back to Basel and hopefully win there.
Are you confident that your team can not only score but win at Celtic Park?
Yeah, sure. We've got a very good side. I think we're also a team that fights a lot, and that's why it's fantastic to play against a team like Celtic. I think because we're pretty much a similar style in football, and so it should be a good game.
And that's it for now. Join Sarah and John at 6 o'clock for the main evening edition of Scotland Today. Until then, have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.
Oh, typical. 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 A healthy snack. It's bound to taste like... Hang on.
Nutrigrain 11s with whole grain oats, wheat and fruit has a rich, moist, oven-baked taste in raisin and new ginger flavours. Hi, Jenny.
Typical.
Kellogg's Nutrigrain 11s. There's nothing typical about it.
If you find the smell of your cleaner overpowering, try Cif Oxygel Spray. Its millions of active oxygen bubbles lift up dirt for a clean that's so fresh, you're sure to breathe easy. And now there's new Arctic Breeze too. Cif, because your home is for living, not just for cleaning.
Vaseline's new Aloe Fresh with aloe and cucumber brings your skin to life. New Aloe Fresh from Vaseline for aloe fresh feeling skin.
Announcing an incredible offer from JML. The multi-chef at Pound Stretcher and Everyone Wants is now only $5.99. That saves you a massive 40%. Turn the handle. It will chop, mix, whip and beat. Use the super slicing lid to cut and shred any vegetable or fruit. Buy now and receive the JML Edge Knife worth $3.99 absolutely free. The JML Multi-Chef is now only $5.99, including your free edge knife. That's a remarkable 40% price reduction at all Pound Stretcher and Everyone Wants.
You're adorable, sweet as candy. You're adorable, a dream girl to me. You're all that I hope.
Hi. Hi. Oh, can we stroke them? Yeah, sure.
New Impulse Moisturising Body Spray. Make your skin strokeable. For a quick step to confidence, get Polygrip.
Just like learning to eat at the table, potty training is a step-by-step process too. Pull-ups training pants are absorbent, will help me learn when to go to the loo. Because if I have a little accident, the fun designs will fade. Potty training starts with pull-ups.
Now, can everyone detect the orange notes in the bouquet?
Yes, I can detect a hint of orange. And undertones of honey. Oh, Hellman's orange and honey dressing drizzled over a succulent duck breast salad.
People who like food love Hellman's salad dressings.
Nice nose. Bouquet.
Claire, we've missed the ferry.
We'll survive.
What on? After Sun, shimmer powder and Tony and Guy Insight spray. Perhaps Barefoot Doctor will save us.
We're stranded!
My brother, he gets you.
And he's look gorgeous.
Mel, you've no shame.
Yeah, no boyfriend.